is a beautiful morning, a little bit chilly, but on this end, I hope that you are keeping warm wherever you are. Good morning, and thank you very much for making time for this special discussion. Now, every fourth day of June, the Catholic Church commemorates the feast day of Saint Francis Caracciolo, and there is quite a lot to know about this Italian Catholic priest who co-founded the Order of the Clerics Regular Minor alongside John Augustine Adorno and Fabrizio Caracciolo. Now, today we are set to know more about the life of Saint Francis Caracciolo. This will be a three-tier thing, and of course tomorrow we'll have a different discussion or aspect about his life. But today we are set to discuss about the life, his early life and religious journey. And with me here are members of the Order of the Clerics Regular Minor. I'd like to introduce them before we start the discussion. It's good to have you, brother and father.
Thank you. I'm Brother Bahidika Morula, Pacific. I belong to the congregation of the Clerics Regular Minor, Caracciolini Fathers and Brothers. Now I'm a student. I'm doing my theology at Don Bosco, Tome.
Thank you very much, Father, Brother Pacific, for making time for this discussion.
Thank you.
I'm Father Eric. I work here in this house as a formator. We are three of us, then I'm one among them. Yeah.
You are one of the formators
Of
here.
the formators of our theological house here called St. Francis Caracciolo Formation House.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for hosting us.
Welcome.
And we are quite eager to know more about your founder, St. Francis Caracciolo. All right, dear viewer, if you have any questions or queries about the life, the early life and religious journey of St. Francis Caracciolo, feel free to send your questions and we'll be able to respond to them. We get the priest and the brother Pacific to respond to them accordingly. And my name is Sasha Elizabeth. Just to remind you, our number is 0717-424-866. The hashtag to use is religious life, hashtag Capuchin TV, hashtag Sasha Elizabeth. Now off we start.
Yes.
There are so many saints, and it's really difficult for everyone to understand the role they play, the different groups that they represent in the society. So to begin with, could you please tell us the life of Saint Francis Caracciolo? Where was he born and where did he grow up?
As we all know, in the church we have so many saints, but mostly today we are about to talk about St. Francis Caracciolo, who was born as Canio Caracciolo, not Francis. So he was born in Italy, especially Villa Santa Maria in southern of Italy. So he was born in a family of 5 children from the couple of Ferrante Caracciolo, and Isabella Baratucci, who are his parents. He was born on 13th October, the year 1563. This one is a great saint for sure, but he grew up like every child in the family. So he comes firstly from a noble family. This child was to take up many charges in the family, but at least he was educated in a Christian setup, because as we read many books about his life, Francis Caracciolo, the earlier Ascanio Caracciolo, as I said, was really amazing as a child, because he loved Mother Mary, as they were used to pray and to recite the rosary. He was really that guy who loved very much praying, but also doing other businesses, because I also remember that he underwent a formation in military service, because as a young man at his age he was to do that. But unfortunately, when he was at the age of 22, he got sick, but then they could not find treatments. of his sickness.
Of what was ailing him.
Yeah, so he prayed, as he was a great prayer, we can say. He prayed and he got healed. That's when he decided, because he had made a vow that if God, you heal me, I will dedicate my life for you. So he dedicated his life. After he was cured, he left his home, his palace. He went to join a confraternity that is called the Confraternity of the Servants of Mercy. That is Italian name called I Bianchi, because they were putting on a white cassock, a white habit, so they were called I Bianchi, that is to say the whites.
The whites.
The whites.
Is it the same that Brother Pacific is putting on?
Not really the same, but the color, yes. But the habit is unique, as you can see. The habit that we put on is very simple, because when Caracciolo came to confound the order of clerics regular minor, he chose this habit to show the simplicity. So Caracciolo, as I said, at the age of 22, he entered the convent seminary, as we can say. Then afterwards, he became a religious. After becoming a religious of that confraternity of the Servants of Mercy, I Bianchi, then afterwards, he had by chance to confound a congregation that is called the Order of Clerics Regular Minor. But before that, before confounding the congregation, he dedicated his life for the sick.
Wow.
And also the poor.
So could we say that the sickness motivated him to start his religious life journey?
I can't think so, but that is his first motivation. But already in his childhood, he was brought up in a Christian setup. So also, as we can read some books, after him, we have also his sister who became a nun. Also his brother who was a priest. So in such a setup, I think he was more motivated also by his family, but mostly by that sickness, because he had made a vow that God, if you heal me, then I will work for you.
So Christian values were nurtured in him since childhood. Yeah, yes. Thank you very much, Father Eric. Now, back to you, Brother Pacific. Could you please tell us about the devotion of Saint Francis Caracciolo?
He was very much attached to the Holy Eucharist, and he spends days and nights before the Holy Eucharist. The adoration before the tabernacle was the life of St. Francis Caracciolo. He spends most of his time adoring the Holy Eucharist. His love was so much. We can say that his love in the Eucharistic Jesus unites him to a profound contemplation of the mysteries of the passion of our Lord. And these 4 days he spent his life dedicating himself to God. And if we continue, we can say that according to the method he used in the book entitled, the book he wrote himself entitled, The 7 Stations of the Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ. St. Francis Caracciolo, as some people knows, he was a priest. He liked celebrating the holy sacrifice of the Mass. He has a particular devotion to the Blessed Virgin Mary. In honoring the Blessed Virgin Mary, St. Francis Caracciolo, every Saturday he was able to fast with bread and water. Besides the hard. Fasting he did. Besides, they had penance. He practiced what we call heroic homage of austere and a continuous mortification, a continuous bodily mortification.
Thank you, brother. Now,
Then we can also say that St. Francis Caracciolo also, he was always, as he was fasting on the eve of the main feast, he was able to fast so that he can prepare himself so well. Also, in addition, we can say that St. Francis Caracciolo also during the solemnities of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, he took at least 15 days fasting so that this feast can have a meaning in his life.
thank you, Brother Pacific. Now, how do you, Caracciolini brothers and priests, keep this devotion alive in your day-to-day lives?
We keep always this devotion by doing our adoration, our perpetual adoration in our communities wherever we are present. And for us, we always pray the Holy Rosary every day in honor the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Thank you very much for that in-depth explanation on the devotion of your founder, Saint Francis Caracciolo. Now, back to your father, Eric.
Yes.
Different saints stand for or represent different groups, categories of people in society, and they hold certain titles which really qualify them to be people to seek their intercession in prayer. Could you tell us what are some of the titles that Saint Francis Caracciolo holds, and which groups of people does he represent in society?
For sure, Caracciolo Francis is a great man that is honored everywhere in the world, and especially here in Africa, Congo and Kenya, also in other parts of the world. But here we will mention that St. Francis Caracciolo, when still living, he was called Uomo di Bronzo. Uomo di Bronzo because he could spend days before the Holy Sacrament, as brother was saying. But also, he was celebrating masses, also hearing confessions. So that one, he could not rest until he has made sure that at least people have celebrated Mass. Also, people have done confessions. So here, mostly, we have some groups, yes, because wherever we work, we always initiate people to adoration of the Holy Eucharist. So if you go around in our parishes, you find that where we work, we have so many groups, especially these groups in our church, like the young men who are called Watoto wa Caracciolo, because they have heard the message, they have seen how we live our charism. So they join us in honoring St. Francis Caracciolo. That's why you can find them, some of them, they become good cooks, because St. Francis Caracciolo is also a patron of the cooks in Italy. So some people, some young men, they have been enjoying this honor that we give to St. Francis Caracciolo. And mostly we find like the lay Caracciolini to honor St. Francis Caracciolo. We see also, as I said, the cooks. We see also some groups in our parishes that they find themselves, when they are together with us, they call themselves Caracciolini, because they say this is a unique way that we can perpetuate the image and also the figure of St. Francis Caracciolo.
Our founder also, he was called a man of the poor, because he likes the poor so much. He dedicated his life to the poor. Also, he was called a man the hunters of the souls.
Why
Yes.
so?
Father, you can explain that.
You see, one brother is saying the hunt of souls, because St. Francis Caracciolo wanted every time to attract and to win souls to God. Because for him, that was the unique way of bringing the sinners instead of rejecting them. So for him, he went around. There is a funny story that is
Share
told.
with us, please.
Yes, that is a funny story that is told, that St. Francis Caracciolo, when going to Spain, so he went to a hotel, but around we had prostitutes. So there is one prostitute who came to St. Francis and told him, "But man, I see you are outside in the cold, so can you come and here and sleep here?" So St. Francis Caracciolo got in the house, but afterwards the lady told St. Francis, "But do you have some blankets to cover yourself?" And Francis thought that it was the ordinary blanket, but the lady was asking him, "Are you accompanied by somebody?"
Oh, okay.
So St. Francis Caracciolo entered the room. After entering the room, the lady was preparing herself there, so that maybe, because he did not know that St. Francis was a priest and was also somebody who was extraordinary by his kindness and also behavior. So St. Francis asked the lady, so he left the room, then he went to prepare himself in the toilets. When St. Francis came back from the preparation, he came back with his cassock and the stole to confess the lady, the prostitute. And we are told from that moment, the lady converted, left
Wow.
her job and became a Christian.
Wow.
So that is to show that Francis everywhere, even on his journey to Spain or somewhere in the city, he was really attracting many people to come back to God.
God.
That's
Yes.
why he was called the hunter of souls.
souls.
But apart from that, also he is recognized, as brother said, as the father of the poor, because already from his childhood he could take food from his place, from his home, to bring to the poor. Also when he became priest, he could fast and take the food that he fasted and bring to the poor. Also, somehow, when the congregation was started, St. Francis, for sure, he could go around, as it was, yes, the custom of many priests, many religious families like the Franciscans or the Dominicans. They were going outside begging. So also Francis, I told you, he was coming from a noble family, but he went out begging people. Then what he received, he shared again with the poor. And for sure, even now, we continue the same practice, because like in our parishes, mostly in Congo where we have some parishes, we help the poor, we are with them. So for us, we don't come from somewhere and helping the poor far from us. We live with them. They study in our schools. They get care from our hospitals and whatever. So that is the way St. Francis was living. And I think somehow, if he comes back, he will be happy, because he will find us doing the same. If maybe it is not at the same level as he did, but at least he will find us doing the same way.
Moving forth the mission,
The mission.
and keeping the devotion
Devotion.
alive.
But also the
Yes.
spirit.
The
The
spirit.
spirit alive.
Yes. Also, we can add that he was also accompanying his brothers in the same congregation in counseling them, in giving them some advices, and also he was going around to see the prisoners.
This brother is talking about the prisoners, because at that time when he was ordained priest, firstly, he was not ordained a priest in our order. So as I said,
he was in a different order.
in a different order, in a different
Which one was
congregation. That is the Confraternity of the Servants of Mercy that we call the Ibiangi. So together they belonged to that confraternity with the other priests that they confounded our order. So they belonged firstly to that family. So afterwards they were used to do apostolate in prison, to see the prisoners, and also coming to help the dying, because many people, they were there, they had sicknesses that could not have, let us say, remedies. So they came, they helped them.
Thank you very much for that, Eric. Now you can see that actually St. Francis Caracciolo was a man who held quite great titles, because the hunter of souls, it's not an easy task to win souls, to get them to believe in something they never believed in completely. The father to the poor and the needy, especially those who are in prison, that's something that can be emulated. Now on 4th of June, that's I understand that's when the celebrations will be happening, the feast day of St. Francis Caracciolo. Brother Pacific, could you please tell us why this 4th of June as the feast day?
Well, St. Francis Caracciolo is honored in the church on 4th June. This year we are going to celebrate 414 years since St. Francis left this earthly world to the heavenly world.
And what kind of activities are lined up for this day?
On a day like this, in many places we start by, firstly, we don't celebrate Francis the same day that he died, but we start like 9 days novena. We do pray for our order, we do pray for our missions, we do pray also for the people and also for the church. So as brother said, St. Francis died on 4th of June, the year 1608. So this is the day that the church honor him, and also us as a congregation. In some places it is different. Activities on that day we start by Mass, because that is our activity, our main activity as a priest, as a congregation.
It's the tradition.
As a tradition. So now after Mass we can have some games, like those who are in the parish setup. They do marathon, they do play football, they do play volleyball. So as to let the youth to join and also to know St. Francis Caracciolo. So like for us now here, we shall have Mass on Saturday, and also after Mass we shall have some moments, some talks, but on the same day we shall have, for sure, we shall invite many people to share with us that joy. But before that, preparing for St. Francis feast on Friday, we shall have a recollection, to recollect ourselves, to see how are we far with our sins. Are we really emulating him, or are we letting him down? So are we really, do somebody see in us St. Francis Caracciolo? So that will happen on Friday.
Can they see the reflection of St. Francis Caracciolo you have found in you through the activities that you do? Quite interesting. Now, you mentioned that St. Francis Caracciolo is the patron saint of cooks across the globe. Do you invest in any projects that seek to promote cooks or contribute in any way into that industry?
For now, here in Africa, we can say that we don't have a specific house where we prepare people to become cooks. But in Italy, St. Francis Caracciolo is considered since 1996 as the patron saint of Italian cooks. And there, yes, of course, they have some setup to prepare some people to become cooks. But we as his followers in our communities, we make sure that we train ourselves to prepare some foods for the members of our communities.
So something to add on that is that we do good concerning food. And I invite you to join us maybe on one meal to test how we prepare, because already in our formation our seminarians are trained how to cook. That's why you will not find a priest who does not know how to cook, or a brother. So also I would say that in Italy for sure we also have, like in Philippines, already there is an academy of cooking that belongs to us.
Yes, let me add also, in DRC Congo, we have started a high school where it is, in French we call it hôtellerie. It is preparing people to become cooks in the society. Yes, in the year to come, our congregation will start producing cooks in the society.
Thank you, Father and Brother. Now I can see my camera person is already salivating when you mentioned about testing.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
I hope they'll get to test and attest to the fact that actually you are good cooks.
Yes.
All right, now as we wind up, because time is against us, apart from being the patron saint of cooks, are there other groups in church that consider him as their role model in any aspect of life?
Yes, as Father Eric mentioned before, in where we come from in the Republic Democratic of Congo, today we have a group called the Watoto wa Caracciolo. We have also the lay Caracciolini. They consider St. Francis Caracciolo as their patron. Also back to Italy, where St. Francis Caracciolo has been the patron of the congresses of the Eucharistic in Abruzzo in Italy since 1925.
Wonderful.
Thank
you very much, dear viewer. It is quite an interesting discussion right here on the life of St. Francis Caracciolo. Now, at this point, we'd like to close this discussion for today. Remember, we'll be taking it up from here later, or that's tomorrow. But right now, allow me to give Father and Brother some time to give their parting shot in as far as the early life and religious life of St. Francis Caracciolo is concerned. I'll start with Brother Pacific. How would you advise the person watching? What can they learn from the early life and the religious journey of St. Francis Caracciolo?
Regarding St. Francis Caracciolo, I can invite our brothers and sisters who are watching us from far and near at this time to follow the example of St. Francis Caracciolo as somebody who loved the people who are suffering in the society, especially the marginalized, the poor, those who doesn't have people who can care for them. I appeal upon people who can come and assist those people who are in need. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, Father, please tell us, and as you give your parting shot, remember to remind the person watching, those who will be able to attend the feast day on 4th, this Saturday, physically, what do you expect them? How can they participate with you? And especially those who won't be there physically, and those who will be probably following what is happening virtually.
So, as we celebrate St. Francis Caracciolo, for sure, you are all invited to celebrate with us Holy Mass and then share some moments of togetherness here in the compound. But also I would like them to pray for us, to pray for our congregation. For those who will not make it to come, at least remember us in in your prayers. But also, we would like to remind you that we are in a formation house, and in a formation house, as you can notice, we have young people who wants to dedicate their lives to God and priestly ministry. But still, as we are now in a pandemic time where means to form these people are maybe less than what we expect. So if there are many volunteers, they can also help us to bring something to eat, or some contributions like books, or even paying even for the brothers, because that is our duty as Christians. Because for sure, for now, we are independent, like religious, because in the time we used to have missionaries who come from Europe and bring donations, whatever, but as you can see us, we are black, we are Africans, so if there is a way, they are welcome to help us. And
yes, this is also the time to invite those who want to join us, like young people, to come and join us. For us, the conditions are like other congregation. As long as you have your C+ and above, you can join our congregation. And the first condition is to be a Christian. If you are a Christian, just come and join our congregation.
All right, thank you. We will get to know details about how you can join the Order of the Clerics Regular Minor in our subsequent conversations on the life of St. Francis Caracciolo. That's when we will be discussing this particular Catholic congregation. But thank you very much, Father Eric and Brother Pacific, for this informative session. And we hope you get to stamp that day appropriately so that people can actually get to see not just a reflection, but St. Francis Caracciolo himself in your actions, in your apostolates. All right,
thank you.
Thank you for being with us. It is time to close this discussion. Remember that, as I mentioned earlier on, it is not just today. Tomorrow we're going to have a similar session, and another the following day, that is on Friday, we also have another on the missionary work, or rather apostolates. So keep watching Capuchin TV. My name is Sasha Elizabeth, and as we wrap up, remember, St. Francis Caracciolo was a hunter of souls, a father to the poor, a patron saint of the cooks, and somebody who touched lives in a different way. So we are all, as Catholics or Christians, baptized and sent, so you can impact or touch a life in a different way, in whatever capacity that you hold. Until next time, goodbye.